First tonight, a live look over downtown Troy as we are under a code red weather alert. Right now, 150 million Americans dealing with the extreme heat. And if you consider the heat with humidity, the feels like temperatures are hitting triple digits today, and they are expected to get even hotter tomorrow. An excessive heat warning for Montgomery County will go into effect beginning tomorrow morning.
So on that note, let's talk about just how fun it's going to get tomorrow. It's going to get hot. It's going to get hot, real hot.
It is. It's really humid too.
Yeah.
We get humid here in the Miami Valley, but not quite like this. Not too often. We had some dew points in the 80s earlier today. That doesn't happen often at all. If you step outside, you kind of just feel the air. It's soupy, and that's going to be the case tomorrow. Along with that, we have temperatures climbing into the mid to upper 90s. So heat advisory for most of us, with excessive heat warning for Montgomery, Warren, as well as Butler County from noon until 9 p.m. tomorrow. So it will be hot for all of us, but even warmer weather expected as we head further to the south with heat index values that could be climbing even above 105. So that's why we have that code red weather alert. We want you to be safe when it's this hot outside. Make sure you are taking lots of breaks if you're working outdoors. Stay hydrated as well, as heat index values, as you can see, could potentially be climbing back up well into the triple digits by tomorrow afternoon. But if you wanted to go for a motorcycle ride tomorrow, I would make it quick because it's going to be pretty hot. Highs in the mid 90s by the afternoon. Can't rule out a shower or thunderstorm by later into the day too, but I'm going to have a look at the rest of the week's forecast coming up here in just a bit.
Our team coverage kicks off tonight with Milena Brown. She explains what you need to do if you plan on spending hours out in the heat.
Obviously, it's summer and people are going to want to continue enjoying all of the summer festivities while they can. That includes right here in downtown Dayton, the Celtic Festival that gets started tomorrow. I was also out at the Clark County Fair today where I saw people of all ages enjoying the day. So knowing your limits and how to protect yourself is essential.
Making sure you know what your exercise potential is and what your heat tolerance is before you go out is really key to making decisions regarding events that you do over the next few days and over the weekend.
You should keep lots of water and drinks like Gatorade with electrolytes on you all the time, and you should also wear your sunscreen and light, comfortable clothing to keep you cool throughout the day. Back to you.
Well, if you need to get out of the heat, the city of Dayton will have 3 cooling centers open across the city. Now, the locations are the Greater Dayton Rec Center on West 3rd Street, the Low Ray Rec Center on Glenarm Avenue, and the Northwest Rec Center on Princeton Drive. Now, these are going to be open from noon until 9 at night. The city asking you to stay indoors and in an air-conditioned building whenever possible. Also, the city has several splash pads across the city for you to stay cool. Those are open from noon till 8.
So how do you know if you've spent too much time outside? Meteorologist Tim Boyd has more on what people should know about heat exhaustion and heat stroke.
All right, so we are talking heat exhaustion and heat stroke. So these are very serious things. So let's get right into the symptoms. Heat exhaustion includes feeling faint and dizzy, excessive sweating, pale clammy skin, rapid weak pulse, and muscle cramps. Now, when you take it up a notch to heat stroke, the symptoms are throbbing headache, no sweating, red hot dry skin, a rapid strong pulse, and in some cases you may even lose consciousness. So from the image on the screen right here, you can see that if you experience these symptoms of heat exhaustion, you should go to a cool location, air-conditioned location, drink plenty of water to stay hydrated, and maybe take a nice cool shower. However, you experience symptoms of heat stroke, you need to call 911 immediately. That is very dangerous. Of course, prevention is always key with temperatures this high. Make sure that you're staying hydrated. And if you venture out into the heat, be sure to wear light colored and loose fitting clothing. And finally, avoid spending extended time outdoors, especially during peak temperature hours, typically around 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Back to you guys.
Tim, thank you. Well, tonight, a reminder to look before you lock during the extreme heat. Now, that means check your back seat to make sure your kids and or dogs are not inside your car before you walk away. That's because during the heat wave, the inside of your car can reach around 150 degrees, which can be deadly. In fact, deputies say you should never leave your child in the car, even with the air conditioner running.
It is a small metal can. It's not legal in Ohio to leave a car running and unattended. There's already a criminal charge that says you can't do that. And it's certainly not ever safe to leave a child unattended in the car.
Now, the sheriff's office says if you see a child or even a pet alone in a car, you should not attempt to break a window, but call 911 immediately. Leaving your child or animals in the car could result in serious consequences, including prison time.
Well, the high temperatures today didn't stop local farmers from selling their produce at a local farmers market. Abby Forbes stopped by the Lebanon farmers market, and how did they say the heat affected their crops?
Yeah, the farmers market went from extreme heat to rain today, and I spoke with different vendors and people that came out to support local. The vendors told me that when it comes to the heat affecting the crops, the big thing they have to be aware of is watering them the correct amount to balance out any lack of rain. So when the rain we had today rolled in, many of them were actually excited.
And what did vendors tell you about the impact the weather's having on sales?
Yeah, so the vendors told me that the rain is the main reason they see a lack in business. I'm told that the heat, on the other hand, doesn't seem to bother customers as much.
Especially if there's storms or sometimes even the threat of rain will decrease it. The heat, not quite as much. Because people are coming out, they're only out here for a short amount of time.
And there are plenty of other local farmers markets this summer, with one being the 2nd Street Market tomorrow in Dayton from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Back to you.
Thank you, Abby. Well, if you want to keep up to date with the latest breaking weather alerts, we of course will alert you on air and through our Dayton 24/7 Now app. With the app, you can get breaking weather alerts sent to the palm of your hand. Take out your camera, scan the QR code that you see on their screen right there to download the app. You can also find it in Google Play and Apple App Stores. You can also check out the latest weather updates on our website, Dayton247now.com. All of this can be found under the Weather tab.
What arrest 5 years in the making. This man, 21-year-old Kedrick Holt, is now charged in the shooting death of 20-year-old Gregory Wells. Now, that shooting happened in Springfield off Rosewood Avenue. Holt faces several murder charges along with felonious assault and firearms charges. Now, investigators say Holt has always been a suspect, but it was information from the public that helped get them justice.
We always ask if anybody has information on any cases that we have, active or previous cases, that we would like to call. They can call anonymously if they would like. Anytime somebody has information on a case, we will definitely pursue that.
Now, Holt is currently in the Clark County Jail where he awaits arraignment. Also, a Xenia man will now spend the rest of his life behind bars. A judge handing down the maximum sentence, life without the possibility of parole, for 33-year-old Brad Stewart. Now, Stewart ambushed 30-year-old Jacob Shelby outside the Round Table Bar in Xenia back in May of last year, shooting Shelby in the face. He later died in the hospital. Stewart was arrested after stealing a truck and leading police on a short chase.
We're learning new information tonight about a Montgomery County Jail inmate's death. Deputies identified that inmate as 47-year-old Terry Clemens. He was booked into the jail just yesterday on a felony weapons charge. Now, around 8 o'clock this morning, corrections officers found Clemens having a medical emergency and later died. Multiple agencies are now investigating.
Tonight, former President Donald Trump is facing 3 new charges in the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case. He now faces 1 additional count of willful retention of national defense information and 2 additional obstruction counts. Now, on top of that indictment, a 3rd defendant, a maintenance worker at Mar-a-Lago, has been charged with lying to the FBI about moving classified documents. Now, Trump was previously charged last month and pled not guilty.
Live pictures right now over our nation's capital following the passage of a critical bill. Lydia Bice has been following this from the Now Desk tonight. And Lydia, what did senators pass?
Well, the Senate passed the National Defense Authorization Act with overwhelming bipartisan support. The bill sets policy agenda and authorizes funding for the Department of Defense. The Senate's bill includes a 5% pay raise for service members. It also includes financial support for the war in Ukraine, as well as increased funding for threat response and foreign influence operations.
So how are the 2 senators here from Ohio responding to this vote tonight?
Well, Ohio Senator Sherrod Brown responded today saying that this bipartisan bill is a win for Ohio communities that will protect our economic and national security from new threats from China and other countries around the world. He also said that senators kept politics out of the decision and worked to invest in our military men and women. Senator J.D. Vance also responded, saying he has worked to secure as many wins for Ohioans as possible and that he's proud of those priorities that are included in this bill. However, he says that he could not commit to the broader package, which would commit the U.S. to years of additional aid to Ukraine. Now, the future of that bill will now go to the Republican-controlled House, which passed its own version of the bill earlier this month. Back to you.
Thank you, Lydia. Well, we're learning tonight President Joe Biden reached out to Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell after he froze during a news conference. McConnell stopped mid-sentence for more than 20 seconds. However, the White House would not give any details on the president's conversation.
There is a lot that they disagree on, but they have found ways to work together to find common ground, and I think that's important for the American people to see, that bipartisanship and how they've been able to work together. Obviously, the president has known the senator for some time now.
McConnell later returned to the press conference and answered questions. The 81-year-old was out of the Senate for almost 6 weeks earlier this year after falling and hitting his head.
DPS's former superintendent starting her new role in Butler County today. The plans she has for the school district.
And the Celtic Fest returning to downtown Dayton yet again. Ahead, what you can expect beginning tomorrow.
Plus, I'm tracking that heat across the Miami Valley, how much warmer we'll get and how long it will last coming up. Here's a live look from our Eco Plumber Skycam. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
Setup is now underway for the start of the Celtic Festival tomorrow. Gwyneth Falloon spoke with organizers and explains what you can expect.
Despite the heat, the Celtic Festival is right on schedule, beginning Friday at 5:30 p.m. The festival, featuring Irish dancers, music, cuisine, and culture, is one of the city's largest. After a rebuilding year in 2022, Sean Kane says they're hoping for a great turnout.
We believe that we have some unique performances on the entertainment side, and I know Celtic music is very popular right now, and and Celtic, Irish dancing is very popular. So we want people to take that away.
If you're planning on coming out this weekend, Kane says they have plenty of non-alcoholic drinks to stay hydrated and Box 21 on site in case of any medical emergencies. You can catch all the action through Sunday night, and more information can be found on our website, Dayton247now.com. Back to you.
Well, hot and humid weather continues and getting even hotter for our Friday. That's why we have our code red weather alert. It's calm out there right now, but we did see some thunderstorm activity for our southern counties. That remains to the south of our region. Dome of hot air bringing the heat, not just for us, but much of the United States. We are going to see disturbances right into the area over these next couple of days, and eventually a frontal boundary that will make its way through, which will increase our rain chances. So not completely dry tomorrow. We can't rule out a shower even for the start of the day. And then we just climb back up mid-upper 90s, even possible by tomorrow afternoon. But then by Saturday, we will be tracking a better chance for rain and storms. Scattered rain and storms expected during the day. We also have a very low wind risk for severe weather both of these days. With the heat and the humidity, it really doesn't take much for a storm to get on the stronger side. So damaging wind gusts would be the primary concern with any storm that develops tomorrow. That would be the same trend on Saturday. Could see some large hail. So both days, low and severe risk. So we'll be keeping you posted. I'm going to have more on that heat coming up in a bit.
Natalie, thanks. The Dayton Board of Education holding a special meeting tonight. Now, during that meeting, they went into an executive session. According to the board's agenda, it was to discuss the appointment, employment, or dismissal of an employee with an attorney. We asked the board members what took place. They declined to comment.
Meanwhile, Dayton's former superintendent, Dr. Elizabeth Lawley, officially started her new job today, and she's now the interim superintendent at Lakota Local Schools in Butler County. And she says she's prepared to lead during a divisive time in the district. Chelsea Sick sat down with Lawley about her plans.
The Lakota School Board appointed Dr. Elizabeth Lawley earlier this month. Now, this was unexpected because she was not one of the 3 finalists in the original superintendent search. Now, in a statement, the president of the school board says in part, quote, "The board did not reach the consensus needed on the 3 original finalists. As an alternative to extending a long-term contract, we acted swiftly to name a strong interim superintendent to continue moving us forward over the next school year." Dr. Lawley was superintendent at Dayton Public until she took this job. She's aware of the disagreements on the board.
That's where we need to bring back together the board's understanding that we're about students and their learning.
Dr. Lawley signed a 1-year contract. She tells me she plans to retire after that contract expires. Reporting at Lakota West High School, Chelsea Sick, back to you.
Montgomery County's property values are, quote, off the charts. That's according to County Auditor Carl Keith. He says it's gained $8.5 billion in value, which is the county's biggest increase in history. Now, most of the growth comes from southern suburbs, with Washington Township gaining more than $1 billion alone.
The real estate market is a huge economic engine. And so to have that type of activity, to have that kind of robust response going on means a lot for any community, means a lot for the county.
Now, Keith says your tax bill will not rise the same rate as property values. The auditor's office estimates an increase of 4 to 6%.
Dayton Mayor Jeffrey Mims casting his ballot in the August special election. He told us he voted no on issue 1, which would make it more difficult for voters to pass a constitutional amendment. Mims says as a veteran himself, it's his duty to fight for people's rights.
We were fighting for the rights of individuals in other countries that have the right to vote, and we didn't have those rights ourselves. I'm a Vietnam vet. I fought for the Constitution to ensure that everyone had the rights and the privileges that the Constitution said we should have, and so I'm not going to stop fighting for that right now.
Now, some who agree with issue 1 argue Ohio should be more in line with standards for changing the U.S. Constitution, which does require a 60% threshold. Live look from our EcoPlumber Skycam right now over downtown Dayton. This might be the coolest it's going to be in the next 24 hours. Let's check in with Natalie.
Well, it is muggy out here on our Watson's Weather Patio, and the heat and that humidity going to be even higher for the day tomorrow. High temperatures climbing into the mid-90s. Now, to put things into perspective, we've only hit 90 degrees 3 times so far this year, and I went back 3 years and I didn't see a 96-degree temperature. So it's been a while since we've been this hot. Again, feels like temperatures in the triple digits, but it does feel better by later into the week with our highs back in the 80s, closer to normal for this time of year, and our overall temperature trend looking even below normal as we look into the month of August. So there is relief on the way, and I'll have a look at our 7-day coming up.
Natalie, thanks. Paying tribute to thousands of war veterans right here in the Miami Valley. The special exhibit that's honoring those who served in Vietnam.
And a local veteran killed in the line of duty now has a portion of a highway named after him. How lawmakers in the area are responding to this special recognition. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
Well, you now have a chance to pay tribute to thousands of war heroes. The Wall That Heals is right now at Yankee Park in Centerville. That exhibit honors more than 3 million Americans who served in Vietnam, and it gives vets and their families the chance to see the memorial without having to go to D.C.
We've come across many of them that fought in Vietnam, that have the losses, fought alongside their buddies who they lost, and to see the experience in almost like a reconnection and begin a healing process for them. And that's the reason why we call this the Wall That Heals, because it really does.
Now, the exhibit is free and will be at Yankee Park until Sunday.
A portion of West State Route 55 in Miami County has now been renamed in memory of a fallen sergeant. Deputy Sergeant William Bill Morris was killed in the line of duty in 1972. A state senator says it was an honor to make this happen and recognize Morris's role in the community.
Everybody that drives down State Route 55 will be able to think of Bill Morris and what he did, for the sheriff's department and the people.
The Miami County Sheriff's Office thanks the Ohio Department of Transportation for creating and installing the sign.
The Downtown Dayton Partnership now taking nominations for the perfect Christmas tree for this year's Dayton Holiday Festival. Crews will cut it down, remove the stump, and transport the tree to the courthouse square, all at no cost. Now, the tree's owners will also be recognized during the official tree lighting ceremony. Those with nominees can contact DDP at the number or email on your screen.
Nearly half of the communities in nearly half of the families, I should say, in our communities are struggling to provide clean diapers for their babies, and there's a way you can help. ABC 22, Fox 45, along with our parent company, Sinclair Broadcast Group, are partnering with the National Diaper Bank Network now through August 6th. Scan this QR code to provide diapers for those in need here in the Miami Valley. Your donation makes a difference, and join us this Saturday for a special town hall as we help create awareness, provide assistance, and build a community to reduce diaper need nationwide. That's Saturday, July 29th at 5:30 right here on ABC 22.
Speaking of donating, our annual Stuff the Bus School Supply Drive has been back all week long. We got one more day. We're partnering with Cranza Classrooms to help provide school supplies for kids going back to school. The donations are distributed to teachers across the Miami Valley for free. A teacher at Fairborn Primary tells us why she chose her profession.
Just being there for individuals that at such a young age need our support and guidance to grow them into future role models in the future.
So here's how you can help fill that gap. We got a school bus in our parking lot all week long. Again, you got one more day to drop off donations. You can do it at 2245 Corporate Place in Miamisburg during normal business hours. Stuff the Bus is sponsored by Raising Cane's. Still to come, the latest update tonight after Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow goes down with an injury on the second day of training camp. Head coach Zach Taylor explains next.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.